All right, guys, you know me. I'm always into making things instead of buying things. And I'm at it again. I'm making protection armor for my A-arms. Now, I made the first one already. I haven't put it on yet, but I made the first one already. I have to paint it and all of that stuff. But I made it to fit. This is 3/8 inch HDPE. I bought a sheet 3/8 of an inch thick. 3x8 is what it was, and for $70. And you know what the rest of this is going to make, don't you? Armor for underneath my unit. I'm going to pull out the existing skid plate, lay it over top of this, and cut it out exact template and put the steel over top of the plastic. But that's another video. So I've already taken it up to mark this out, lay it out, make it. Totally made. Got all my holes drilled. Got them countersunk for the bolts. I am going to get the raised washers to go on it. It's rounded over the edges real nice. I know you see all the red ink and stuff on it, but that's nothing. That's just me marking things out. So I'm going to try this one out real quick, bolt it up, and see what it looks like. So one thing I did have to do is drill these holes out a little bigger because I didn't like the little tabs. And the slot over here, I made it bigger on the one side. These bolts I drilled totally out. They were welded to the frame. I wanted bigger bolts. I just did that. They were tiny. Same thing on that side. I drilled the bolt out. And so what I'm getting ready to do now is bolt this one up. All right, I hope you guys can see how this goes on. It's not that big of a deal. It goes on quite easily. I bought new stainless steel bolts and nuts. The size is irrelevant, to tell you the truth, because you'll choose whatever you want. Like I said, these are solid 3/8. HDPE, 3/8 HDPE is what it is. And I bought it from a local plastic place where they sell, you know, all the different stuff. All the different types of plastics and stuff. So, like I said, it don't really matter where you get it from. Just, you know, you're going to have it if you want to make your own. And considering the amount of money that I'm going to have in it, it's definitely worth it. That worked out real good, didn't it? Probably work better in forward. All right, that takes care of the bolting. All right, guys, as you can see, it is definitely covering the whole A-arm. I did leave a little extra in the back in case I back into a rock, and it is curved up. It is curved up, so if it hits a rock, it's going to slide over it. The front as well. It's curved up nicely, nice and tight. And if you're wondering about the slit here in the plastic, we have to make it curved because if you look at this A-arm, you can see it's curved, it's arched, comes stock. So you cut the slots in it on both sides and it allows you to pull it up tight with these bolts. Turned out really nice, guys. And as you can see underneath, the bolts are not, I do not have the big washers. You know, the washers that you use when you're putting metal, you know, bolts underneath. I don't have them, and I'm going to order them, but this is just temporary because I got to take it back off. I'm going to paint them green to match my unit. I'm going to cut another one here and let you go through the process with me of making them. All right, guys, so with me, it's always about the template. I put the piece of cardboard underneath my unit, and I folded it up to match that angle. But now I'm doing an opposite one, so I'm going to have to fold it the opposite way. So I'll get it set up, and then I'll be right back. All right, guys, so on this one, I'm going to want them to turn this way versus the opposite way. What I'm going to do, take my marker and mark this corner here to match this edge with that seam. Slide it up slightly, put a mark down here. Same thing on this side. Put a mark here to match my angle. Same thing up here. Now, it does not have to be perfect, guys. Remember, it does not have to be perfect. Then, just run yourself a straight line. Run yourself a straight line, straight as you can, from point A to point B. This is not going to matter in the bend. At the end of the day, this is not going to matter, so just trust me on that. Same thing here. Well, that didn't work out very good at all, did it? Okay. All right, so what I did is I took these pallets. I know, just like I always say, guys, ignore the mess. I got myself a 2x40 on top of the pallet. Got it set where I want it. And I will start this first screw in the center. Don't draw it all the way in. Then you take your plastic, stick it in till it hits whatever it's going to hit there, and leave X amount, whatever that is, half the distance of your red line to your edge out, and then you start screwing it in accordingly. And you're going to want this all tight. And you'll see why. You'll see why in a few minutes. Okay, so now I got it pretty tight. I'm going to turn it up to maximum temperature. Not sure if you'll be able to see that. I'm going to go all the way up to 1200 and I'm going to back it to 1150 once it gets heated up. And all you do is just heat it up and let it do its thing. It takes a while because this is being so thick, it's not going to go quick. You've really got to get the heat in there to it. And it's got to go so deep into it. Even though eventually you're going to feel the temperature underneath the board, that doesn't mean that it's hot off the bend. I don't know what the melting temperature of this is. Really never looked it up, really never worried about it, but I know it's going to take me about 15 minutes to get this bend in here. You can now see it's starting to bend pretty easily, but it has like a memory on it in the plastic to be straight. Because you may not be able to tell, but this is like a layer on top of layer plastic. And you just have to keep pushing it, and eventually it'll get to the point where you can just completely fold it over, which mine is very close. It won't break as long as you're not forcing it too hard. Just keep heating it up. And eventually I'll have it folded all the way over to the other side. I'm putting the same pressure on. Look at it. It's just slowly but surely bending over. You'll feel the little weak spots in it. As I heat up a certain section, it just moves more and more and more. But you're going to be sitting here for 15 minutes doing this, because if you let off the heat, and especially like me, I'm in a garage where it's just cool, it's like 45 degrees outside, or maybe 50, I guess, it's going to lose all that heat quickly. So you just have to keep on keeping on. See, it wants to go back immediately, so you just got to put some heat on the inside. You got to let it cool a little too much. Look at that. It's going on over. And the reason I'm going to fold it all the way over on itself is because it's going to want to come back before I can get it to my water and cool it down to make it keep the angle that I want on it. I'm not a bioengineer engineer or anything, but I don't know if I'm messing with the molecular structure of the plastic or not by doing this, but heck, man, it don't matter. The other one seems rigid. I've already built one and put it on. At the end of this video, I'm going to put a dollar amount of what it's going to cost me totally to put this together, and I'm sure it's going to be about a quarter of the price it is to buy them. And for 2 or 3 hours of your time, you know, you can build them yourself, and that's the beauty of this. That's why I DIY everything. I like doing it myself, and you know, you get the satisfaction of doing everything yourself. You know, from my exhaust systems to everything I do, my roll cages on my 950, to the door panels on this, to whatever I'm doing. I like to do it myself. Hands on, man. So this one's just about done. I'm just about ready to fold it all the way over on itself. It's pretty pliable now. And you can see how quick it wants to come back after you've let it go. So it's important that you keep the whole thing hot, because the memory is going to want to take it straight again, because the fibers inside the plastic or whatever is in it makes it want to come back to the way it was made. Okay guys, got the first one done and heated and bent. Don't worry about it being perfect. Don't worry about how everything is, because you're going to cut it to trim it out once you install it and you see where you want to cut it. See how tall this lip here is? Well, it's not that tall on there, is it? Because I cut it just to match the top of the A-arm. You'll be doing the same thing with this one. So it took about 15 minutes to heat it up and bend it. Now it's time to do this side. I'll get this other side clamped in and we'll do the same thing. No sense in you watching me heat it up for 15 minutes. All right, guys, I got the second one all bent both ways. Gotta let it cool a little bit before you can take it off of there. Off of this brace. But let it cool just a little bit, and then I'll take it and run water over it to cool it down and make it keep its form. The thing is, what's under here, between these boards, about 50% of it's going to get cut off, or 60% of it's going to get cut off. And but I still needed the extra flange to make it work. So far, so good. All right, let me get it out of here and cool it down, and I'll show you what's next. All right, guys, the next step is to hold it up on the A-arm where you want it to go. And that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm going to mark it with a pencil. You're wondering why the blue tape? The blue tape is because the pencil will not work on the plastic. So you have to put blue painter's tape on it to make it work. All right, guys, so now we got it up, cut, got our blue painter's tape on, because you have to have that for marking. It's time to mark your thing on your blue painter's tape. If you don't mark it with a blue painter's tape, you're not going to be able to see it on the plastic. All right. So, next step is to drill the holes. And here's one. This is the slot. That's where the pencil stopped. This is the other one. The other one. And the other one. They don't have to be perfect, guys. Just get them close as you can. Now, the next step is to drill them. And with me doing everything with one hand and holding the camera with the other. And now we'll roll the board around and we'll drill this way. Okay, the next step okay, now you've got them all drilled. The next step is to take your vari-bit or multi-bit, whatever everybody calls them, something differently, and you definitely want to ream it out a little bit to accept, even though this is temporary till my washers show up, to accept that screw. See how it's beveled? Got to make sure it sits and seats in a slot till my washers show up. So for now, just to hold it on there, I'm going to ream these out a little bit. All right, see, they got a nice little bevel inside of them. Looks nice. Next step is to get them bolted on there. So, first thing we're going to do, since the back of it is already beveled, I'm going to get one of them started, which the easiest one is always the closest one to you. And like I said, all you're trying to do is just get it started. Don't torque it down, because you're going to need room for movement and all that stuff, in case all the holes aren't lined up just right. Which we hope they are. All right, so now you have to tighten it up where you want it. Which is what I'm getting ready to do now. I'm going to use an impact because it's not going to hurt it. Okay. I said you really only need to snug them down nice, snug them nicely, because you're going to have to take it back off again anyway. Okay, now you've got it all snugged up. It's looking good so far, but we're not done. So now what we have to do is put the slices in it to match the A-arm. So what I'm going to do is see exactly where I cut the other one, which is just about center of this brace. I'm going to put a mark on both sides and cut it down to the bottom on both sides, after I find my marker. So here, it was just off center towards the machine. So I'm just going to take my marker, put a mark there. On the back, it's really not going to matter because most of this is going to disappear anyway. This one's near the center. I'm going to mark it. Now guys, we're going to take it off and put them slots. So what I've done is I've got all the bolts in just hand tight. I've stuck my jack under it and got it so that everything is tight all the way around, all the way up to the A-arm. And you notice the split because it's bending up. And these weren't cut. It'd be an awful lot of pressure on that right there on the A-arm, so we're not going to let that happen. Now that I got this cut or up and rebolted on, I'm going to take the thickness of my marker. I'm going to lay it on top of the A-arm and just put myself a mark all the way up this A-arm. And I'll be cutting that at that mark, which you can't see right now, but I'll be cutting it at that mark because that is how much I'm going to want to have revealed after the A-arm is on, or after the plate is on. The other side, I'm going to do totally different. I'm going to match this side. As you can see how much is up, I'm going to leave about that same much pointing up, and that's it. I'm not going to leave it bent up like the others, or like the front. And if you notice, it's not bent as extreme as that side. So this time I'm going to turn my marker like this. Just go straight across. Straight back and forth. This I'm going to have to put an angle on it. It's not going to work like that, which you'll see why later. Same thing up here in the front. I'm going to put a small little curve on it. As you can see up here in the front, I put the curve on it because I didn't want it to come up and hit anything. On the back side here, or actually on the front side here, I did the same thing. I didn't want it to hit anything. So now I'm going to take that off. I'm going to cut it on my marks and bolt it back up. All right, guys, next thing you're going to want to do is take a grinder to it, because you can see looking down, it's got some bows and angles in it that you're just not going to like. And plus, you don't want to leave the sharp edges sticking up. So I'm going to take a minute of my busy schedule and I'm going to grind it down. You do not have to grind it down, but I just wanted all the sharp edges off the side. Less to hang up on, in my opinion, just for me. This crooked line here, I'm going to clean it up now and then round it over. that's it, guys. Time to bolt this boy on. Got all my edges rounded over. Let's get this on there. We can complete this video. All right, guys, let's get these bolted up. It doesn't have to be perfect, guys. Remember, this is all DIY. You're doing it for your own, protecting your unit, your way. You don't have to listen to anybody else. Look at my 950, guys. Look like crap. And I didn't worry about what anybody else thought. This was for me and myself. And however it turned out is how it turned out. I didn't worry about what anybody else said or thought. Okay. Patience, guys. I'm not loaded with it, but I do have a little. Now, you may be wondering what the jack is for. What the jack does is it puts pressure in the center of this arm, puts pressure in the center of the plastic to make it go all the way up. And trust me, it's not going to hurt it. You're going to be hitting rocks bigger than what this thing is. I got it all the way up. Now it's time. Now it's time to tighten this boy in. Don't have to be super tight because I am going to take it back off to put the skid plate washers on. But they ain't showing up for a few more days, so they're on their way from Amazon, unfortunately. I have to wait. But I'm just putting them on now, like I said, to get it out of the, get this off the floor and get my mess cleaned up. Because God knows I like a mess. And God knows my wife hates my mess. Alright, come on, guys. Work with me. Alright, I guess I can remove the jack now. And tighten that last one up. There we go. Okay. And that will do it. Guys, look at that. Nice protection all the way around that you see underneath there. I don't know if you're seeing it. Got my 4 bolts in. 2 up there, 2 up there. Looks good. It's 3/8 inch HDPE, which is what was always used in the past for skid plates. I know they use a UMWH or whatever, UHWM or whatever now, but man, this is what they used in the back in the day. So that's what I used. So guys, that'll complete this video. I know I'm not like Adrenaline Junkie or Main Street Cycle doing videos. It's just me, myself, and all my mess. As you can see, it's a mess. I don't have the big stations to work in and all that stuff. I just have what I have. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thumbs up, thumbs down, either way. Merry Christmas. Peace out. God bless.